let's look at the actual behavior inside of one of these. Let's see what one of these is doing. I'm going to close up that previous one. Let's go over here and we can look at the meaning for this. Let me see, what is the actual path open, right? And there's a value for it, so we can see the types of things we can change it to based on what behaviors we put into this particular box. So I'm going to close this guy for a second, and let's see. I'm going to close this up. We'll go over to the original gear that we first picked. Let's look at its meaning. And now, what do we have here? We've got a title up top. We have some info for it, and we have an action. I'm going to pick an action. Well, we have channel change. We can leave that action alone for the moment. We can change where it's going. And so this is exciting to share, because I'm just going to drag it over here for the moment. These are the previous channels that we had picked. So all the examples that had been picked before are sort of here. That's why there's a whole bunch of nones when I didn't pick something. It's just restoring a history. And what I want to share with you is that this is really exciting, again, to iterate and build software to make an application, because all the recent choices, they're all right there for every single piece of data, not for just a particular interface or a special thing. All of them, they are all there, and that's it's really helpful. Again, it saves a lot of time. I'm not trying to figure out where was that, what was the value, what was the thing. We can only put in valid values. I can only select things that are going to work. Let's test this out. And what we've done is we've selected the first ingredient channel. I know that's in Illuminate, the first visual that is applied to a given image. And I'm going to let's see, close this up, and this right here, this is actually telling us it's a little bit cut off. It's not wrapped around, which I should be thinking of. Change channel to first ingredient. Okay, we actually first ingredient channel. That is the full behavior, and we can see this info. If you look up here, info 1 subject. That's the one. A lot of these have several infos: subject, object, indirect object, just like grammar in a regular sentence. And also remember that everything you're looking at can be interacted with. Can we change toggle? Can be seen? Sure we can. On, off. Can we? We're going to actually test it, right? I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to close up that interface. I have them to stay open because, again, it's just useful to have them in place as I go through and edit other pieces. So if I click on this guy now, does it take us to that first ingredient? We'll see. Now, we've already built this guy. Lots of people came to a design, and all of it was just dragged out, and all of it is about just tying these guys together and then selecting them, changing what their initial values are, arranging them, and changing what the meaning is for them. So let's look at the meaning of this guy. By the way, it is overlapping on that, and I should do something about the opacity, the see-through factor, but I haven't yet. So what happens with this sentence? Well, let's take a look. That is replace equation craft with another equation craft. So there's some information here that isn't presented in English currently. It should be. I just haven't gotten that done yet. And I stretched this out just so we could read it well in the video. But there's another way to also just see this, which is hover over here. Whenever we're hovering, by the way, like any type of tooltip, currently we just have the name of whatever we're looking at on the left side, and the what does it do? What's the meaning? The subject, predicate, a noun, verb, direct object, indirect, the little sentence that will occur. So there's a little subject, target, and here's the verb of what it does. And we know that is, oops, let me just close this down. Oh, this is showing us, all right. So if I select on somebody, it will, transfer in there. So let's select him down here. Now in Illuminate, we have a situation where we wanted some attributes that we could alter, like head size. And this should be showing up, by the way, like pinheaded or big-headed or or small body, large, and there should be a sentence here that puts all of the not default or when compared to another words up top to make its own little sentence of what you're seeing. Coming soon. But when we look at this guy, what's interesting is not just building an interface with Maven, but making some data that we can work with later. So let me click on this back again. When I look at the model for this particular guy, and again, sorry for the overlap, I'm sure that's a little visually confusing, but it's showing me, oh, here's the craft. This is the craft for this particular character, and it has a toy figure. And there's no downsampling. There's a presenting, we can look at what's happening. But let's click on this. This shows us, oh, we have Zach figure, Chandra figure, and actually let me move it down there so we can see, because again the pan has sort of brought us a little far off. That's just what's happened. So when we start sculpting all this data, all these little features, how blue is that suit? Let's make it not very blue, but let's make it much more green right now. I guess that's yellow. Okay, and maybe we'll redden these up just so it's distinct. Although those are some ugly colors. Sorry. Anyway, I have a figure. This is Zach. He's changed. If I flip over to Chandra, so she's changed down here. I gotta click to copy her in there. Or different characters. They're all right here. And I can have large amounts of stored data that I can always look at. I can always edit correctly. I can see the history for. And I can quickly swap between if I want to have lots of configurations, or even just tweaking. Even before shipping, or maybe even as part of your featured app, you might want to switch between lots of little configurations. Well, what if we do it like this? That's the default? And sometimes if there's a real lot of data together, you're going to write a programming routine, or you're going to have a special tool, or you'll have some interesting item to sort of make these adjustments. In this case, let me go with big head guy. In this case, we can always store those things, and we'll always be coming right back to a value that again is all from our history and use, stored, savable. The point I want to make is when you think about how much time as an engineer you spend writing code that basically says, hey, change these values, if this thing happens, alter these values in this way, or how you sync things up. Everything you're seeing is highly parallel. By highly, what I mean is every task that can be distributed as a job is done so. There's some things that are serial in nature, first A and then B, but even then, everything is scheduled to sort of maximize how efficient we can be with power and performance. We have the potential of doing that because we can re-alter all these little pieces of data that we sort of control.